You've read the news. Nobody wants the manager's job. At least not the way they used to. People used to want to climb the ladder, but now they don't. They're fine staying at the rung they're at, or they're just saying no, stepping off the ladder altogether. There are a couple of things that are actually making this worse. The first signal is this generational signal. DDI, a leadership consulting firm, they call this conscious unbossing. Younger workers are actively choosing not to climb the management track. And gotta be honest, I don't blame them. Manager engagement globally just hit 22%, which is the lowest Gallup has recorded in the last 20 years. That's down 9 points since 2022. Over 70% of leaders say their stress went up significantly when they became a manager. And 46% of middle managers say they're thinking about quitting in the next 12 months. Now, what employees do is they watch those above them and they draw conclusions. And so they're seeing that and they're saying, this job isn't worth it. The second signal that's going on in the universe is what we all see in the headlines. AI is going to eliminate middle management. Coordination, task assignment, status updates. AI is coming for all that. And then 72% of CEOs believe their employees are going to be managing AI agents within 5 years. So this job looks precarious, not good future, and miserable. So why would anybody sign up? These are things that are coming from major research firms. So it's a real pattern. And the question for us is, what do we do with it? Now, I was in Silicon Valley in the early 2000s during the dot-com crash. And so I saw the change that happened as that industry plummeted. So when I would drive to work, the streets that were usually full of traffic, you could tell they just got noticeably empty. Companies were folding. In our office, we had one entire floor that was completely empty. Layoffs were happening, and everybody was getting the message that you should reconsider going into a career in tech. It's not a good bet. And so CS enrollments went down and not as many students entered into the tech industry. Well, 5 years later, when I was doing recruiting, we could not hire new grads because there weren't any. The pipeline was completely dry. So what had happened earlier was now coming to roost, so to speak. And so the demand was there, but the supply wasn't. And that's actually what I fear is happening in management right now. We've got people that are opting out. Young leaders are watching and saying, that is not the job for me. And we're seeing organizations cut these management layers. But we're not going to feel this for another 3 to 5 years. And by that time, that gap, that succession crisis, the bench, the moment you need somebody to step up, it's going to be too late. Nobody's going to be ready. The data is actually pointing that way already. We already got people that are saying that they don't have enough confidence in that pipeline of people that can take over roles. In fact, 77% of CHROs say they don't have confidence in their leadership pipeline. Only 20% have successors ready for critical roles. And half of CEO successions in 2024 were unplanned, which was up from 43% from the year before. So these aren't predictions. That's what's happening now. What are we going to do when the pipeline gets thinner? The organizations thinking seriously about this, they're going to be the ones that are going to be ready for the future. Same for individuals. The person who develops real leadership capacity now, while all these other people are opting out, they're going to be one in the position to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be available 3 to 5 years from now. Now, what everybody's seeing is not wrong. I just worked with a client who was a manager, and he was motivated. He was willing to take on the role. He genuinely wanted the role. But when he got into it, he was just getting beat up by his employees. He was really unequipped for what the job required. And so by the time I started trying to help him and support him, it was honestly like too little, too late. And he eventually stepped back into an individual contributor role with a different organization. But here's what happened next. Nothing changed for the employees. They just went on kind of doing what they were doing. It was the business that suffered because no one was prepared to step up. So what happened is the manager's boss had to step in and take on more. That took them away from leading in areas that the business needed. And now they've got this position that has a reputation that everybody watched what happened to that person was like, no, I don't want to do that. So they just shut down their pipeline. But I'm not saying these younger workers are wrong about what they're seeing. Research shows managers spend over half their time on administrative work that they identify as low value. So they're not doing the meaningful work like coaching people, developing team, building the next level of leaders. They're doing work that even they feel is low value. And so the job that we all talk about kind of deserves the reputation it has. But that human function, that leadership function, that's irreplaceable. That's why Gallup says 70% of the variance in employee engagement is due to the manager. So again, what do we do about it? Well, the fix isn't to convince people that management is great. We're not talking about a marketing problem. It's a design problem. So we got to start with an incremental approach, like start building a system where people can learn about the responsibilities, learn about the expectations, and learn about the rewards of management before committing to it. I remember the first time I started leading an office and had a P&L responsibility. And I realized how many of these decisions that when I saw them from the outside, I thought they were simple. And now I realized there was so much complexity. So some of those people, when they try out the role, they're going to want to go into the full role. But even if they don't, they're going to be more capable in their existing role, more empathetic, more supportive of who is in the manager's seat. And they will start changing the kind of environment that managers are working in. So that's how we can start designing roles and positions so that managers actually enjoy their work. Engagement at the manager level is 22%. That's what I said at the beginning. 22%. And so that's what people are seeing. And that's why they don't want to step into the role. So if we want more leaders, and we need more leaders, then we have to make it a desirable role. We have to put some work into how it is designed and not just accept inheriting the existing role as it's defined. Now, some of you are already thinking, Brian, I'm not running a happiness program. I need my business to grow. But here's the thing. If a manager is enjoying their work, a big part of that is because they are being successful. So it's a win-win. And that's exactly where we're going to go next. Because it turns out making the management role worth wanting isn't something you do separate from growing the business. It is actually a growth strategy. Your pipeline, the bench, the leadership capacity that lets you scale, that all starts working when your managers are engaged. And that's the next conversation we're going to have. So subscribe to my YouTube channel, stay tuned, and that video will be coming out shortly.